guys might know me, I'm a beer guy, I brew beer, but unfortunately, or fortunately for me, my wife hates beer. She smells it, and that's the only way she helps me out with the beers. But what she does like is wine, so I do wines too. I just do the kit wines, and today I'm going to be doing a Pinot. This is going to get this ready for next year now, it's nearly the end of summer here. So, and this is a kit I've bought before, and I like these kits. They come with a bladder, which I'll show you in a minute, and full instructions, very easy to do, and it's pretty typically nice wine. So the first thing we do, it comes with bentonite, it comes with a yeast, and it comes with a clear in the kit is sold 2-stage. So what I'll do is I'll go through the whole process with you, stage by stage, and show you how I make some wine. It's pretty easy and it tastes pretty pleasant. So first thing what we've got to do, sanitize everything, make sure everything's 100% sanitized. I use Star San, and then I sanitize the fermenting bucket, and then all the tools and everything I'm going to be using, the stir and everything. So the first thing we were going to be doing is going to be adding the bentonite. So what we do for the bentonite is we have to mix it in water, and I just use drinking water for this. If the water tastes good, the wine, will taste good. So first thing is 4 litres or a gallon of drinking water goes into here first. And then what we do once we get this in is we mix in the first pack, which is the bentonite. And the instructions are pretty detailed, they go through all this stuff. But you first got to get this bentonite mixed in. And there's no easy way to do it really, other than I use a drill attachment, which I've always got in a sanitizer, and a drill. This is also an aerator too, or a degasser. You're going to use this later on in the process as well to degas it. When we get to that, I'll show you how to do that when we get there. So I'll just get this in there, and then you just give it a mix. Mix until it's all gone. It takes about 5 minutes. So I'm going to mix all this in, and then I'll come back and then we'll move to the next step. Okay, so the bentonite's mixed in, and now what we're going to do is we've got our juice pack. The more juice you get with the kits, better they are, because the less water you have to add, and the more juice, better wine. So now we put this in on top of the bentonite and the 4 litres or the gallon, and this is where it can get messy. These caps are a pain in the backside, so this is where it can go downhill real quick, so watch me make a mess. Oh, not too bad. Okay, so you put all this in, and then they say to rinse this out with a bit more water, just to get all the stuff out there. I just think that's another way of making a mess. And honestly, with the lighter ones, I don't think it matters that much. With the dark reds, Merlots, and the Cab Savs and things like that, yeah, sure, give it a rinse with water and clean it out 100%. But this, it cleans out pretty much, I'm not going to screw around too much more and make a mess and let my wife come home and get all pissy with me because I've made a mess everywhere. So now from here on out, what we'll do now is we'll take a gravity reading to see where it's at. And I've got measurements on the side here. So it's up to 6 gallons right now, where it is now. So, so you just take, this is all in sanitizer of course, just take the thermometer to see where we're at. So we're looking at, we need to be, it says where we should be, so we should be from 1.02 to 1.10. Give it a little bit of a stir. Make sure it's all mixed up, so we get an accurate reading. It's pretty good. And then try and figure out where it is. So I think at the moment we're sitting at 1.1 10, 1.110. So that's pretty much where we need to be. I'm going to leave it right on 6 gallons instead of bringing it up to 6.5 gallons. And I'm going to add the yeast straight away. Let's check the temperature, just make sure we know what the temperature is, because it's handy to mark all these things down. Document, document, document. And they come with this handy little sheet. And on the top of it, it's got the date and the SG, starting gravity, that stands for. So you put the starting, I always put the starting gravity and then the temperature as well and the date, and see where we're at. So we'll just check where the temperature is. Temperature, we need the temperature to be so about between 68 to 75. So we're at 72.5, so I'm going to pitch the yeast. Take that out, little boy, out first. And with the yeast, I'm not going to hydrate it. I've never hydrated it before, and it's always been totally fine. So I'm going to put this in straight on top, and then put the top on. This is a fermenter that I've used in my firm fridge out the back, and I've got 2 holes in the top of it because I usually run a thermal well with a thermal temperature in it. And you know what I'm going to do this time? I'm going to use this thing. It's called it's a fermenter that you put in, or a tracker that will track the temperature, the gravity, and let you be able to control it without having to take the lid off. So put 1 bung in, and because it's got the 2 holes, because I run the thermo well, I have to put 2 in because it's got 2 holes, but I'm not running the thermo in the thermo well. And then that's it. And now what we do is we sit that in for a week and track the gravity before we put it into our secondary, rack off this into a secondary, and I'll do that when that happens too. So start up another wine. Okay, I'll be back when it's the next step. Some more fun stuff to do. Okay, so it's been in here about 5 hours now. Everything's leveled off. I'm just sitting in here because we're in air conditioning at the moment, so it's constant 72-ish. So the tilt's kicked in, and so the tilt reads 101.3 for original gravity, starting gravity, and 73. So, and the tilt is a little bug I put in there, and it does it remotely. It's just through Bluetooth. Pretty cool little units if you want one. I've been using one for a long time now, and absolutely love them. So, all right, I'll keep you check the progress as the way it comes down over the next 7 days before we rack it into the secondary. Okay, here we are 2 days later on Pinot, constant like 72, 70 degree temperature. There's the tilt reading, and I'm missing that tilt in my beer at the moment. I think I'm going to have to get another one of those things. Dropping great, the gravity's coming down, so it's fermenting out pretty well. So stays in this one for another 4 days, and then we'll move it into secondary, and I'll update you then. Okay, so we're all drained down into the carboy, and made sure not to disturb any of the lees, the gunky stuff on the bottom there with all the yeast and stuff into it. This fermented down to 0.9888, so it went down under 0, so 1%, so that's great. So what we're going to do now is we've got this attachment. This is pretty sanitized at this stage. Everything has to be sanitized. This is a degassing stirring attachment just for the drill. So what we're going to do, they collapse down and go into here, so you can use this to stir it up and drill it around nice and slow, and all the bubbles will come out, and it's called degassing. And now we need to degass it properly for about 10 minutes so it clears out properly. If we don't degass it properly, it won't clear out properly. And then after we've degassed it, I won't bore you with the degassing for 10 minutes. I've got a little bit of warm water in here, or sort of just room temperature water, and in the water I've put the sulfite and then the potassium sorbate. and this is going to help to just stabilize it. And then after we've put this in, we'll stir it for a little while, and then we'll go through and we'll stir it, and we'll put well, I lost that. So we'll put the clearing agents in, and it's a 2-part clearing agent, pretty typical of any wine I've used. And this is, yeah, pronunciation's going to be pretty terrible with my accent anyway. So D1, which is Keys Sol, and then the D2, which is the Chitasan. Close enough, mate, right? So now you've got to be careful that you put the D1 in first, mix it in, leave it for 5 or 10 minutes, and then put the D2 in and mix it, leave it for 5 or 10 minutes. This is a clearing agent. This drops it nearly overnight. All the stuff in there that's been left from the original fermentation. You know, without the lees in there, it's still that cloudy. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to run it for 10 minutes and put these 2 in, and then we're going to put it in a cool, dry place for, gosh, you know, up to, so this is 12 days now to here. So we're going to leave it to 40 days until it's pretty much crystal clear, and then we're going to bottle it. So that's what I'll do, and you'll see me at bottling. This at the moment smells actually pretty good. Smells really good. I haven't had a taste yet, but I got a little piece in the chamber when I did my gravity. I'm going to have a bit of a taste of that in a minute. Just make sure it tastes, you know, not funky. All right, I'm degassing. Alrighty, so we've been 41 days or something like that. I'm not sure if you can see how clear it is, but it is clear as a bell. So nice, compact, all the crud, proteins and whatever is from the clearing agents. So what I'm going to do now is siphon this off, rack it into a bottling bucket, and I'll show you how we bottle it. Okay, so it's time to bottle the Pinot Grigio. It's I've taken it off the lees, and I put it in a bottling bucket up here, just with a straight cord. And this is a wine filler bottle. Very easy, just press it down and it fills the bottle up for you pretty quick too, which is good because I've got like 30 bottles maybe to do. When it gets to the top, automatically cuts itself off. I'll give you like a really close up on this on the process, and when it gets to the top, it cuts itself off. You take it out of the bottle, drain, put it in the next bottle, push it down, and it fills the next bottle. Okay, so from here we take the bottle that's filled up to, you know, here, put it in the corking machine. So it just goes in here. I've got corks just in the fluid. Cork goes in the top. Pull it down. Done. Corked. Pretty easy. And from there I just line them all up, and then I've got the little tops. I like to put the little tops on. Just to protect the cork, and they're really cheap, and they, you know, they just finish it off a little bit better because I give these out for presents and things to family and friends. And then you just go straight through the principle again. This one cooks itself off, take it out, put it in the next one, press it down, it's already filled up, into the machine, cork, done. And then I just heat these on with a heat gun. I don't use the boiling water. There's a few people do boiling water, but I just use the heat gun. So I'll give you a close up of the process. So here's the bottle filler that I use. So I just I've got the bottling bucket up here on the shelf, and it just comes down. So it just pushes into the bottle, and then you click it down, and it automatically will fill the bottle up. When the level in the bottle gets up to about here, the air cuts off. I think that's how it pretty much works, and it stops. No fuss, and it takes see, and there it goes, and it cuts down, and it takes the amount of wine that you would spill down from considerable in my part to negligent, and then you put and then this one goes straight on to the corker like that. You grab a cork, put it in, pull the handle down, and there's your filled bottle of wine. Craft Beer Pours, I'm going to put a link down below. Great channel, great site. This guy's got some amazing content, does beer reviews for all the mainline beers. Really good information. If you're ever looking for a beer, I'm sure he's done a tasting on it. And if he hasn't, hey, hit him up and ask him to do a tasting on something, and I'm sure he will. Cheers.